The more you associate happiness with curiosity, the happier you'll be when your curiosity is satisfied. Welcome to the Happy Channel. It's TRS Clips. Let's actually go into the story of Zoroastrianism. Where exactly did it originate and from what did it originate? Because before a religion begins, there has to be some source. So is that a source of beliefs, etc., etc.? And please correct me if I'm wrong, but the one thing I've understood about Zoroastrianism from all my Parsi friends, honestly, is that it is in many ways like a sister religion to Hinduism also. Like they're both sister religions, very similar, especially when you look at the old Vedic beliefs. There was too many parallels. My reading here is because it's sort of geographically similar locations. It's this whole subcontinent and Central Asia stretch. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yes, a lot. I would say that even before the word religion may have come about, in the hoary past, we are talking of Indo-Aryans. We all studied, I remember I studied it in my 5th standard, that there was a group of people called the Aryans, much before any religion came about. And according to our religious tradition, it says that they were staying very much in the north, almost near to the North Pole. And this group of people whom we call Aryans, in the Avesta language, it is called Aryana. Aryana literally means belonging to a noble race. So this group had 3 types of people, geographically 3 types of people: the Europeans, the Indians, and the Iranians. And they were all living together peacefully, even perhaps before the Great Deluge came along.
The Great Deluge.
Yeah, which happened 12,000 years ago.
Oh, okay. I'm stopping you in 2 places here. Okay. The first place is this whole Aryan invasion theory. It's greeted with a lot of anger online nowadays. Like a lot of Indians get very offended with like the Aryan invasion theory. So we've had archaeologists on the show where I've asked them about the Aryan invasion theory. And Disha Aluwala, she's a very reputed Indian archaeologist. She said that now it's proven that India, like from Punjab till Tamil Nadu, was not invaded by the Aryans. This is archaeologically proven. So I think when you're talking about Aryans, you're talking about another kind of story. I'm just saying that for the audience here.
Yeah.
You're talking much more about Zoroastrianism and the region near Iran. There was some element of a group of people called the Aryans there. Maybe the British actually used that theory and pasted this Aryan invasion theory upon the Indus Valley civilization. I don't know. That's my conjecture, but I want to know more. Secondly, this 12,000 year thing, this has also been brought up on the show. Apparently, around 10,000 BC, which is about 12,000 years ago, there was a very big cosmic event, almost apocalyptic. It's called the Younger Dryas Impact. And this has been brought up a lot on American podcasts. Again, a lot of international archaeologists are not completely convinced about it. I totally am convinced. I believe that the Younger Dryas Impact happened and it destroyed human civilization as we know it, and we had to rebuild from there. Now I'll let you continue. So I'm sorry, it's very important for me as a podcaster to give this context to the listeners.
Yeah.
Now go on.
Very true. See, as an academician, I know one thing, that 2 theories can coexist. And I'm not of the opinion that if my theory is there, the other cannot coexist. So I'm very open to it, and I know that this second school of thought is there, but there is so much evidence about the first school of thought also. And the moment you said that there are similarities between the Zoroastrians and the Hindus, one of the main reason people believe that it is because Zoroastrians came to India from Iran. That is why the similarities are there. And I say, no, sir, that's not true, because Zoroastrianism, what we call today Zoroastrians and what we today call the Hindus, they have been together since 12,000 and more than 12,000 years. They've never been separated in a way if you go to see.
Yeah.
I saw a Netflix documentary about this, what you just mentioned, about this apocalyptic event. And I just want to draw your attention to the fact that in that documentary, even the Avestan concept is mentioned. The person who was present from a Zoroastrian viewpoint, from an Avestan viewpoint.
What is Avestan?
Okay, so Avesta is the language in which all the text of the Zoroastrians are written. So Avesta goes back before Zoroastrian religion even started. It was the language, as you rightly pointed out, the sister language to Sanskrit.
Okay.
So the name of that language is Avesta.
What's the script like?
The script is totally different. You may not have seen it anywhere because for thousands of years, this language did not have a script. The script developed only about 1,500 years back. And of course, one similarity to Persian, etc., is that it is written from right to left. But apart from that, it is quite different because there are 50 letters in the alphabet. And each letter is written separately. It's not conjoined as in Arabic and Persian or even Pahlavi. Pahlavi is another Iranian language. So that's why we call Sanskrit and Avesta sister languages.
Now I'll let you carry on to the story, sir. Where do Zoroastrians believe that Zoroastrianism began? Like, do you want to start at the deluge? Like that's one thing you mentioned. Do you want to start at that 12,000 year mark, or do you want to go further back? It's up to you.
Further back.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
But I'll want to hear about the deluge as well.
Yeah. So our ancient Iranian history, I've always maintained that to understand religion, you have to know the history. Because ancient history and ancient religion are always conjoined. So you have to go together. So our ancient Iranian history is, for convenience sake, has been divided into 5 groups or 5 dynasties, what we call. And we are going to the first dynasty, which is called Peshdad. Now, the very word Peshdad means the first lawgivers. Pesh means first and Dad means law. Here we are starting with the beginning of civilization, when there was nothing. Agriculture was not there. How to wear clothes was not there. Skills and trades were not there. We are going right from at the beginning when people were in a nomadic stage, hunters, gatherers. So at that time, we are told in our epic. Let me tell you about this. We Zoroastrians have our own epic, like the Ramayana and Mahabharata. We have it. We call it the Shahnameh, and the Shahnameh is a complete history and some part of religion also in it. So the Shahnameh has preserved this. Some people call it mythology. I call it ancient history, which is unrecorded.
Yeah. Until now. Go on.
So the very first king in, you can say, the whole world was a person called Gayomard. Gayomard means mortal man. Every word has beautiful meanings. Gayomard means a mortal man. And so he told the people, you settle down. There's no need to be nomadic. You settle down and start agriculture and farming. And that gave them time to sit and think, what we call reflect. Up till now, there was survival instinct was supreme. But later, as things progressed and as they got a chance to settle down, they started thinking. And one of the first thoughts that King Gayomard had was, we are told, that he got a divine message from a divine being saying that, tell your people that there is only one God in the world. And the name of that God is Mazda. All others work under him. The nature works under him. Other divine beings work under him. There is just one God, Mazda. And the meaning of Mazda means all-knowing, omniscient. So tell people to connect to him and then everything will follow. So that is how, before, we are talking of thousands of years before Zarathustra came along. We are still a lot behind. So once again, going back to that first king who was also regarded as the first Sociant. In Zoroastrian religion, a Sociant is a mini prophet sort of a thing, who is inspired by God. And that God was Mazda. So from Gayomard started the belief of believing in one God. But at that point of time, there were people who did not follow him. And they, in our tradition, have been called Devyasnis, perhaps because they worshipped several gods. And the Hindu part of the Aryan, they call their gods Dev. So that's why we call them Devyasnis. So it was just 2 belief systems existed in those times. Mazdayasni and Devyasni.
I'll tell you, man, and I'm so sorry I'm interrupting you, sir, but I have to give context to a lot of the listeners who are listening for the first time. This has come up a lot when we're talking about ancient Hindu history, where Zoroastrianism has come up a lot on the show. It's come up that it's a sister religion. And what's also come up is, in Hindu stories, there is Dev and Asura. And in Parsi stories, there's Ahura and Daiva. It was possibly just two sister clans talking about each other. And in both the stories, I mean, it's like if you are India, you look at Pakistan as the villain. If you're Pakistan, you look at India as the villain. But in truth, human beings are grey. There's good and bad on both sides. So that's all I wanted to say here.
Yeah, we are not enemies.
Yeah.
I never consider them as enemies. Even two brothers have differences of opinion.
Yeah.
So it is perfectly all right. But this is what I call internal evidence to show that yes, they were together and then they separated because of some schism which happened at some particular time when Prophet Zarathustra came about, because that schism took part later on.
What do you mean by schism?
Sort of a rift.
Okay.
A rift between the two groups. So the first group, which we today call Europeans, they separated first while the southward migrations were taking place. Now, how do we know that they were together? By their languages. So several European languages, ancient European languages like Germanic, Saxonic, etc., and Sanskrit and Avesta have similar roots. So that was why these languages were studied and taught in Europe, because even Latin, because they have so common roots and bases and etymology, etc. So this languages are one of the biggest proofs to show this theory that they were living together and they had one common language at that time, which philologists call the mother language. Mother to Avesta, Sanskrit and European languages, ancient European languages, which unfortunately no longer exist. But because of the similarity of these three languages, they say that it did exist. Otherwise, how come these three languages of now people who are so scattered are same?
Yeah. Go on with the stories.
So then there were several other kings. I'm not going into their details. Sure. But the fourth king after that was a king who brought in a golden era in ancient Iran, and he was King Jamshed, who is known as Imak Shaita in the Avesta. And he was the person in whose reign the great deluge happened. So it's extensively mentioned in our Avestan text. So now we are talking about the king called Imak Shaita or Jamshed. And we are once again told that a divine being brought a message to him that a great deluge, or you can say it may be even a rain resulting in a deluge, or a snow, whatever, which would result in a deluge, would happen. And he was told to save his people and take them to a safe place. It's like very much like the story of Noah or Manu or Gilgamesh in other civilizations. So he built special enclosures, which are also described in our text, Avestan text. Circular.
Apocalyptic bunkers.
Yes, apocalyptic bunkers, exactly circular. And such have been found recently, like in Turkey, etc. places. And when I had gone to Russia, there is a place called Arkaim, which also has some similar settlements. And the archaeologists, why did they name the place Arkaim? Because they connected with this place with this Ima. Ima is King Jamshed. So Arka means settlement. And Im means, so even today if you Google Arkaim, you will be taken back to this place in Russia. This Arkaim, or what is called in Avesta the Vara of Ima, was constructed, which gave refuge to people during this great flood, because it was constructed at a higher altitude and in such a way that natural sunlight and natural air would be able to get into the houses.
Go on.
So King Jamshed then once again became the king after the deluge was settled. Like people hailed him as the savior. And the festival that we today celebrate on 21st of March, and not only Zoroastrians but many other Central Asian countries also do celebrate this festival of spring, and we call it Jamshedi Nowroz. That festival is celebrated because King Jamshed saved the world from the great deluge and started a new life, a new settlement, a new world sort of, And even today, people celebrate it as the onset of spring when the sun enters the sun enters the constellation of Aries. We are told on 21st of March.
Now, I want to actually go back to that period post the deluge and post King Jamshed. So, what happened after that? So, southward migration started happening, but the original group of Zoroastrians was still in Russia.
No,
Everyone migrated.
everyone migrated
Because of
gradually because of the increasing cold,
Okay.
and because of the more expanses that they were able to get as they managed to come down.
Okay, so they migrated towards like Uzbekistan, that area.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. What was happening in Mesopotamia at that time? Like when we talk about this whole Mesopotamian civilization, was it actually Zoroastrianism or was it a whole separate cultural thought?
We are told just once in the passing that after Jamshid, the king that came from a place called Baura. In Avesta, the name is Baura, and scholars identify it as Babylon. So perhaps this foreign king attacked Iran, and one of the kings of this dynasty is a foreigner called Zahak, who is considered, of course, because Zoroastrians see him as evil only because he has usurped the kingdom. So this Zahak was from Baura, and scholars identify this word Baura as Babylon. So perhaps they were, when they southward, initially they did not have to contend with other people.
I think we'll have to give some context on what and where Babylon is. It's the capital of Mesopotamia?
Yeah.
Okay. Supposed to be one of the biggest ancient cities of the world, which eventually got destroyed in, I think, when that whole Old Testament phase was going on.
Yes, around 2500 or 3000 BC.
Okay. That's when it got...
Not BC, sorry, years back.
It got destroyed at that point. But before that, it was kind of a stronghold of the ancient world. So then the Babylonian king attacks the Zoroastrian capital.
Yes.
Which is?
At that time, it was regarded as Bactria.
Which is modern day Iraq.
Yeah, Afghanistan.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Okay. So Zoroastrianism had come down till Afghanistan at that point.
Yes. So that was the expanse of ancient Iran, second period. First, as I told you, was very much north. Then second, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, parts of Russia, and even now parts of Iran, Pakistan, what we call Afghanistan, Pakistan, North India. And we have references, historical references, telling us that later dynasties did reach out to Hindustan also. In fact, you'll be surprised to know that in the Vedic Avestan books, this place was called Sindhu. But it's in the Avestan text, it is mentioned as Hindu. Because if you, as I told you, the two languages are very parallel. So wherever there is her in Avesta, the parallel word in Sanskrit starts with sa.
So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out this playlist for more videos just like this. It's TRS Clips.